citizenship piece of this. Does this effectively allow him now to block birthright citizenship, which, as we said, constitutional scholars say the language is quite clear on in some parts of the country, at least for a period of time?
In theory only, because first of all, this whole thing's on hold for at least 30 days. That was already written into the executive order, and essentially the court reminded people of that. Right now, as we speak, Jim, people are going to lower courts right now, trying to use alternative methods, trying to look for class action ability to sort of block it. But what the court has given him, two major things here. First, at least an invitation to try to end birthright citizenship. And the other, as Kristen just mentioned, an invitation for a whole swath of policies that are arguably unlawful. I was in the courtroom when Justice Barrett read this. And first of all, I just have to say, it was a very big surprise that she authored this, only because the whole world up there works on seniority, and Chief Justice John Roberts had the authority to decide who would write this. And look who he gave it to, the most junior member of that six-justice majority. Gave it to her, first of all, in part because she does tend to be, compared to her colleagues, not compared to the left for sure, a little more measured. And in fact, several of the other conservatives split off and wanted it to go further. But the point is that she got to do this, and it's going to give a green light to countless presidential orders that right now had been stopped.
No question. I want to get to that list of orders, but before we do, Ellie Honig, what do those who want to challenge this ruling, who want to protect birthright citizenship, what do plaintiffs do now to attempt to defend that in light of this decision?
Well, they have to either become parties themselves to a lawsuit, right? They can no longer rely on, well, one district judge in some other district blocked this nationwide. If someone wants to challenge this now, they have to either sue on their own or become part of what we call a class action, a large group of people going in and suing at once. It's way more burdensome than it was a few hours ago. And the bottom line takeaway from today is right now, the presidency, forget about Donald Trump, the presidency is far more powerful than it was at 9:55 a.m. this morning. What this says is that district court judges, by and large, cannot individually block a president's orders across the country. And it should be noted, this was a problem. This was a practice that bothered and upset and got in the way of presidential initiatives of Joe Biden, of Barack Obama, of George W. Bush to an extent. But this has now fundamentally shifted the balance of powers away from the courts to the president. And I should say, with the press conference that just adjourned, the president is correct that he got a big win today. But there was some overstatement in there, too. At one point, I think the attorney general said, now district court judges can't stop us from doing anything. Yes, they can. They can on a case-by-case, party-by-party basis.
Decision today whose children were born in this country, and the law as understood, and not just with the 14th Amendment, but, for instance, the 1898